morning, Leo.
Morning, Sherman. Good to see you.
Great to see you. I'm in here in beautiful Vernon, British Columbia. I'm actually headed out your way to the coast. It was great to see you in person in Toronto at PDAC. The conferences are all. It was nice to be back out in full force, seeing people in person in Toronto.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it was great.
And you're probably in Vancouver right now.
I am in Vancouver. Yeah, nice and sunny here.
Nice and sunny. Yeah, a little cloudy today, but we're the Okanagan. We had a nice, real couple hot days, but it looks like it's going to cool off today. And I really appreciate you taking the time this morning. I know it's early. I'm off to Vancouver, and I know you're busy. I guess first of all, just by way of introduction to our listeners, I'm with Leo Hathaway. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Golden Shield Resources, a company that is just in the middle of finalizing a financing for their gold project in Guyana. And so, Leo, first of all, thanks a lot for taking the time this morning.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Anytime, Shannon.
I guess I thought we'd focus on a couple things this morning, and get your perspective on two things that I wanted to talk about. One is, the whole nature of the gold sector is getting very interesting for investors, really globally. There's actually been some great articles that have come out. I think Frank Juster did one with the guys at CEO.ca talking about how we're really in a very interesting time in terms of what could happen with the gold price. I can tell you, Leo, I've been in this business for over 25 years, and I've been in business in Vernon, for that much time as well. And, I would say that there's a lot of people that are actually quite concerned about what's happening. We've got, an area that a lot of people don't fully understand what stagflation is. But when you get a situation where you've got rising prices and you've got, sort of slowing economic activity because of what's happening globally around the world, but then coupled with, supply shortages and wars in different parts of the world, it really would seem to me that we're poised to have a really strong gold market, or in particular where individual investors are going to be looking for a safe haven for their money. And I think that has big implications for the gold sector. So this has been a lot of talk going back and forth. And Leo, for those of that don't know, Leo's a geologist and a senior executive in the mining and exploration business for the last 25 years. He works with some very well-known companies like Lumina and has recently, put together Golden Shield Resources, which is a gold exploration development company. And we've got a few minutes with Leo, and I think I'd like to turn it over to you, Leo, and just get your thoughts and perspectives with all your years of experience and what's happening in the gold sector, number one. And then I guess number two is, what are you up to with Golden Shield? I know that, we're very excited to be participating in this financing. So I guess it's those to really get your perspectives on the gold sector and what investors should think about. And then secondly, the exciting developments that you've got going on at Golden Shield.
Yeah, I agree. The gold space is very interesting to watch right now. I think we are in a high price environment for gold regardless, but I think with the we've had a pandemic, we've had a war in Europe, and now we're moving into a very high inflationary environment. So I really think I think the stage is set. I think there's some people who are kind of surprised it hasn't moved already, but I think there's a kind of a lag time for the economics to kind of swing into action, and I think you're beginning to see a move to people are beginning to value real things more, and you see that a bit in the Bitcoin sell-off, and I think that's kind of where we're headed. With gold, people are just going to realize there's an intrinsic value there that you really, you can't you can't replace, and it's a physical thing that you can, keep under your bed if you want to. So I think we're kind of headed in the right direction. I think you see more central bank buying, and I also think there's kind of unexpected things that might happen. Like I'm watching people talk about banning Russian gold exports and things like that I think could have a sudden impact on the market that might surprise people.
I think those are very, very important points. And, I guess what we're trying to do with our group and people, some of our listeners, is to help build the awareness of how critically important, having investments in real things is, and especially at this juncture. I mean, it's quite interesting when you look at gold and bullion. Gold in particular has always been one of those asset classes that typically keeps up with the rate of inflation. And I think that's something that's really becoming powerful these days. Is because the purchasing power of the paper assets is really being impacted by the high rates of inflation. And so I guess from a macroeconomic, the way I look at it sometimes is, first of all, what sectors do you want to be in? And then once you've picked a sector that you really like, you got to find an individual company. And that's where we really try and focus on, the quality of the projects, the quality of the people that are involved, and of course, ultimately, what price that you're going to pay for those assets. And I mean, and that's what really got us attracted to Golden Shield was, the quality of the management team, including yourself, the quality of the projects that you have, and then obviously the overall market cap. So Golden Shield is one of, obviously one of our picks going into this, what we think could be some real potential upside. And I think, investors should be aware that, having gold as a part of the portfolio is important. And another way to look at it is, how can you pick a great gold company? So maybe just tell us a little bit about what's going on with Golden Shield.
Yeah, so as you say, I'm a geologist, and I've always been attracted to Guyana because of the prospectivity. It's the same rocks as West Africa, but just a lot less discoveries. So empirically, I know there's mines to be found there. It's less infrastructure than West Africa, and the saprolite development there makes it a bit harder to conduct exploration. But I like the prospectivity. The issue with Guyana is it's a small country. There's less than 800,000 people in the country, and you really need a Guyanese national who understands the mining business and understands how to operate there to enter the country. It's different to other countries in South America in that sense, in my opinion. So I teamed up with Hilbert Shields, who is the ex-VP exploration for Golden Star, and Hilbert is Guyanese and Canadian. Really seasoned geologist. He's kind of walking encyclopedia of Guyanese geology and gold occurrences. He knows all the underlying owners. He knows all the politicians. He can really operate in the country. So he is the president and CEO, and he spends most of his time in Georgetown. He put the portfolio together. He runs things in Guyana, and we're also looking at other things to expand in Guyana. So he's an integral part of the team. And I mentioned the prospectivity of the country. I think the other thing that about Guyana is it's a English speaking, long mining history, simple mining law. So it's a good country from a regulatory perspective. From a permitting perspective, it's unbelievably easy compared to most places in the world I've found. And interestingly, from a political risk point of view, compared to other countries in South America, there's a lot of countries there kind of move on a more leftward trajectory politically. Guyana, comparatively is stable in that sense.
Yeah, great. Well, we're pretty excited. It's our first sort of investment into Guyana, and we wouldn't be going there if we weren't going there with you. And I think that's a testimony for the average individual investor is, I mean, first of all, once you decide that you want to be in the gold sector, that's, the one decision. Then the next decision, how are you going to invest in the gold sector? And investors can go out and buy silver bullion, they can go out and buy gold coins, but you don't get the same leverage that you would get if you bought, shares in a company like Gold & Shield at the right price. So, it's kind of like, in my view, you get kind of a double dip because, the gold sector really looks like it's poised to go. And that's interesting about your comments about the lag. And I think you're 100% right. I think there's so many of us in the industry are just like scratching our heads going, when you look at all these things that are happening, I mean, it's a sort of an explosive potential for gold. So yeah, we're pretty excited, to be involved with you, and we look forward to further updates. I've been here last 5 minutes with Leo Hathaway. He's the geologist and chief executive officer for Gold & Shield. So, thank you so much, Leo, for taking the time, and I'm sure we'll be talking quite a bit more in the coming months.
Yeah, no, I'd love to keep you updated on what we're doing, for sure.
All right. Thanks, Leo. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.